Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Now, if you're like me, today your social media was covered about posts about Bowtech splitting with Tim Gillingham and Kyle Douglas. So two really high profile archers and why they've split. Now, the context of the letter saying that we've split with these archers is saying that Bowtech is going to focus on more amateur shooters and more grassroots levels instead of paying the top shooters. So people were shocked by this because obviously Kyle Douglas, world champion, won lots of big shoots, and they've just dropped him. Now, when you think about this, I'm not going to say Kyle Douglas and Tim Gillingham aren't great archers, but what this is to do with market share and how you increase your market share and how much money you're making. So Bowtech made a decision to say the amount of money we're paying Tim and Kyle is not worth the extra that we've got coming back. However, Paige, she's worth it, whatever they're paying Paige, right? So she's worth it, but not so much Kyle and Tim. So now Kyle and Tim could obviously shoot for Bowtech for free. They won't do that, obviously. They'll try and get a contract with some other company. But that's what the whole market situation is. We've seen this before. Kyle Douglas shot with PSE and obviously got paid more or was offered less to shoot with PSE. So he moved to Bowtech. That's my gist of the situation. And did very well moving to Bowtech. This has happened before with people like Levi Morgan leaving Matthews. Matthews said when Levi left, they said we judged he was worth this much and he was actually worth much more. So they've now signed him back. Don't know what the bigger contract is, but there's numbers thrown around that it's a big contract, that this is what he's worth. So for me, owning a shop, it comes back to when you walk into a shop, what's influencing people to buy a bow? What's the biggest influence? It might be your mate, it might be advertising, it may be success, it may be the bow seller, right? So it's like, what's making the impact? It might be the way the bow looks. Now, I'm going to say Bowtech has been very successful in my shop, past and present, if that makes sense. So before I used to sell Bowtech, and I sold about 1,000 bows a year in Australia. I was the exclusive distributor for Bowtech in Australia, 1,000 bows. And then a shop came to Bowtech and said, we will sell 3,000 Bowtechs a year for you. Bowtech said, good, we'll go with you because you're going to sell 3 times as much as Stephen. That shop was broke in about 3 to 4 months and moved about 15 Bowtechs. Meanwhile, it killed the whole dealer network in Australia that we had established, and Bowtech was basically nowhere for a number of years. Now, for me, it was a kick in the guts because it's like I was selling lots of Bowtechs, I built it up, and lots of time and effort went into it. But in the meantime, PSE doubled in size. So I lost Bowtech, but I doubled in size PSE. Now, moving on ahead a few years, we now sell Bowtech again, along with a couple of other stores in Australia. So we distribute Bowtech to stores, as well as a couple of other stores do so in Australia. So I don't have the same market share with Bowtech that I used to have, because now it's split between 3 shops. So now, even though I stock a lot of Bowtechs, it's not the same as being exclusive where you can stock lots and lots of Bowtechs and have much more impact in the marketplace. And insert your own money and own finances to promote a brand. So I'm going to say Bowtech is very successful for me in my shop. And I think what drives Bowtech sales is its innovation. So its bows have got, the tunability, what's put into the bow is very unique, and people try the bows and they like them. So that to me is the biggest mover on Bowtech. Now, of the 3 shooters, Kyle, Tim and Paige, I'm going to say a lot of my customers have actually spoken with Paige on social media through personal messaging and just discussions about Bowtech bows. So they come into my shop and says, Paige said this. I'm like, you spoke to Paige? And they're like, yeah, I had a big chat with her. Now I'm in South Australia, and it's like, so this person in America is talking to people in Australia in my shop. So that means she's talking to other people on social media. No one ever said no one has ever come into my shop and said they've spoken to Tim or Kyle. Nothing against Tim or Kyle. It just hasn't been said. Then I think, well, what's the impact of an Archer on sales? Because this got me thinking, Kyle's a great shooter, and is Kyle having an impact, and how much of a hit is it going to take in Bowtech sales as far as I'm concerned, because it's going to make a difference with how much I sell. Now I'm going to say the biggest impact I found this year with Bowtech for 2023 versus 2022 is the bows look amazing this year compared to last year. The paintwork is just over the top. It's just an amazing little product. And the quality is really, really good. So I've had no issues, touch wood. So it's really, really good. It's all shipping pretty quick. We've got a couple of little hiccups, but it's all shipping pretty well. So my personal view is it's not going to make any difference losing Kyle and Tim. In fact, if Bowtech do what they say they're going to do, go grassroots and go, hey Stephen, we can give you a bow on discount for someone in your store, or maybe we'll give you 2 bows, or if you sell $100,000 worth of product, we'll give you 2 bows. You can do with those what you wish. You can give them away to people, just tell us what you do with them to promote the brand, because then you will drive more sales. You're then putting the incentive into the shop to push the shop to promote a product. So I think sales people in shops are really, really important. So it could be Bowtech go, look, we will set up one of your staff to sell Bowtech. So that way when he comes in, it's like, I know all about Bowtech. I've been given some Bowtech clothes. These clothes were not given to me by Elite or Fivix. I purchased these, right? So I think if Bowtech play it right and take that money which they were spending on Tim and Kyle and convert it to grassroots funding, so say to stores, well, if you buy so many bows, we will give you a bow, promote it how you will to shooters, your own staff. I think it could be a really big thing for Bowtech. Now, I've had these discussions before with Pete Shepley from PSC. Now, Pete's view on sponsorship was most of it is a waste of money. He said, I give away 300 bows a year. I give away 300 bows. And he said, I struggle to see return from those 300 bows given away. He said, to give away 1 bow, I need to sell 10. So if you can generate 10 bow sales, I can give you a bow. And he said most shooters do not do this. So I always think, is that shooter going to generate 10 sales? Now I'm going to leave with a comment, and you can take from this what you will. At the recent Australian National Championships, it was won by a PSE. It was won by a person shooting a PSE Dominator. 2 archers won 2 events. One Jonathan and one Bailey Wildman. Very good shooters. One with PSE Dominators. Okay. Now they were up against shooters who are sponsored by Hoyt, who are given bows, multiple bows, given X10 arrows, but they choose to shoot PSE. Okay. They don't get paid, but they won the national championships. So you could argue that the PSE Dominator is the best bow in the market, because every championship which was contested at the Nationals was won with a PSE Dominator. And the archers weren't paid and not sponsored. And I'm like, is that fair? Is the PSE Dominator better than the Matthews, than the Hoyt, than the Elite, than the Chinese bows? Or is it just the archers? So, given that the PSE Dominator won the national championships, is that going to relate to sales? Does that mean more people are going to want to buy a PSE Dominator? And hence, I should be stocking up on PSE Dominators, because there's going to be a flood of sales into my store for PSE Dominators. That is a question that a retailer has to ask every day. What is going to push sales and what's not going to push sales? Now, if Chris B does a review on a product, chances are I'm going to have a run on sales. If I do a product review and I like the product, chances are I'm going to have a run on sales. If I don't like the product, the product falls apart on me, chances are I'm going to lose my dealership, and chances are that product's going to struggle to sell. Okay, so it's a two-edged sword. If you get a good review and it's an honest review, then it pushes sales. If it's a bad review, it can actually have the negative impact. So you've always got to bear that in mind. And I've had reviews where B3, where the release aid fired as I pulled it back and I hit myself in the mouth. B3 not that happy with that review being released, where I thought it was necessary to show that it occurs and how you fix the problem. That was a choice I made. Now that choice cost me the B3 dealership. Okay. So we don't sell B3 now, right? So that's B3's thing. Let's say we sell $100,000 of B3. I don't know how much B3 make, but it's at least 30%. So it's cost them $30,000, and then I don't review the product, which 90% of my viewers are overseas. Anyway, this is the thing you've got to take into perspective with this. And as a shop, if Tim and Kyle jump to another brand, does that mean that brand is going to pick up in sales and you need to stock more items? Or will it have no impact? This is what you have to bear in mind. And it doesn't shock me at all. And I'm going to say on those last points, Levi Morgan is now with Matthews, and I'm going to say I'm in Australia. How many people come in to my shop and go, look, I really want the Bo Levi Morgan shoots? Now I'm going to say and I've mentioned this before, if sponsored shooters want to have an impact, they really need a bow named after them, which is specifically built for them, and that way you can actually monitor the sales of that product. I think it'd be the greatest thing. They've got a linkage to selling the product. I think what PSE did with John Dudley having his own range of bows at a higher price point than the PSE bows was very, very smart. And to start off with, it had a big drive in sales of the John Dudley bows. Less so now for me. I don't know about other shops. But when it first happened, there was absolutely sales. When it was Joe Rogan's got a PSE, it was like definite sales there. How many and how much it costs, completely questionable. Because most archers who come into the sport are new to the sport and don't know anyone. They just walk in and go, this is my price bucket. What have you got in the store? Because they don't know anyone. They don't know anything. And if you're an existing archer, chances are you've had your bow for a number of years, especially in Australia, and it's like, I'm happy with my bow. I'm just going to keep shooting it. So I think there's less, especially in my store and in Australia, in my market, I think there's less people following people. But it may be different in America, it may be different in Canada, it may be different in Europe. But I think that's the gist of this. That companies are looking about how they spend their advertising money. Now, on that, I did a post and Tim Gillingham got back to me. I said, I used to be a gold tip distributor, I still am a gold tip distributor. And I said, I used to sell $250,000 worth of gold tip a year. And I said, and then they gave the giving away products to Tim. So they said, Tim, you give away as many products as you want in the marketplace. So as a result, Tim's like, here's a whole bunch of shafts to this archer, here's a whole bunch of shafts to this archer. You want some shafts? Here's some shafts for you, right? And I said, for me and my business, no shafts are given to me. So therefore I have no incentive to push the product, because I can't go, actually, Danny in the state, you're the best archer in the state, or I can't go to Bailey, you're the best archer in Australia, I'll set you up with some gold tip arrows, and I can post pictures of you with gold tip arrows and do a video with you with gold tip arrows, and maybe we can throw you some money your way for shooting gold tip arrows. I can't do that because I'm not given it. Okay? So I'm not given it. I'm not exclusive with gold tip. So as a result, it's like Tim gives away products, and Tim said, well, I give away products to people who I think make an impact in the marketplace socially. So he makes a decision based on a person's Facebook profile or something, or whether he's going to give some shafts away and how many shafts he gives away, right? And he said to me, well, you can contact Gold Tip and they'll give you some stuff. Now, I've been selling gold tip for 30 years and that clearly hasn't occurred. I would much prefer it to be at the shop level, and people are going to say, well, you prefer that because you're a shop. But I think if you tie incentives and rewards to sales and performance, you get better results. So if you said to a shop, if you sell $20,000 or $30,000 worth of product, we will give you a dozen arrows for somebody. If you sell $100,000, and that way the shop is going to be accountable for its sales. It's going to be accountable for promoting a product. It's been done many, many times before. Martin used to give away gold bows to people who can sell so many. Hoyt used to give away gold-plated bows for people who can sell so many. It makes people push, it makes them hungry, it makes them drive for sales. If Bowtech do this, I think it's going to be successful. I'm not having a go at Tim. Like, he gives away plenty of stuff to people. But for me, I can't use the pictures of the people using the product because people get upset. If I give people the product and go, hi, I'm going to use your pictures for things, it's okay, right? So in the past, I didn't have a person, PSE sponsored a person in Australia with PSE bows, and he won the national championships. I then took the picture, I put it on my page, and I said, national championship won with a PSE. He said, please remove that picture. So PSE gave 2 bows to him at a cost of about $5,000, and he said, I don't want any advertising on your site to do with me shooting PSE. I was the exclusive PSE distributor in Australia at that stage, and he's like, no, I don't want you shooting, promoting my picture with PSE. And I'm like, okay, I'll remove it. So it makes no sense to me. You want shops promoting the products. And I think when a sponsored shooter says you can't use this, I think it defeats the whole purpose of it at all. You can't go, because that's what you want. You want people raising the profile of the product. And that way you can say, actually, you shooting well, you winning nationals contributes to sales, so I can actually pay you money. Because what you want is to get paid money so you can do what you enjoy. That's my take on it. And I think as soon as you put it back in the hands of the shops to give away stuff and to drive funding, I think it's all going to be all the better for the industry and better for shops and better for the growth of sport in archery. I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Thanks for watching.